Hey everybody, today I thought I'd do a video talking about my most anticipated games for 2022. Now this video might seem like it's getting ahead of itself because, to be honest, I haven't played a lot of the big titles that were released in 2021 because they just haven't hit the shelves in the UK yet. So, again, getting very, very ahead of myself here. And again, I apologize if there's quite a lot of spam this week in terms of my videos and content because I've been off work and I thought I'd make the most of this time and get as much content as I can out there. So I've got a few games here. I'm kind of going to try and break it down into three loose categories. The first of which is going to be brand new games that have not really been kind of pre-advertised before. The second bunch is going to be games that were supposed to be out last year, but were kind of slipped back in time. And the final one is going to be kind of reprints and second editions. So let's get into it, I suppose. So the first game I want to talk about is a game called Terracotta Army. So this is it's going to be a game with quite an interesting setting. So this setting about the Terracotta Army has actually not really been explored too far. I know there was a game a few years ago called Xi'an, the Terracotta Army, which I really enjoyed, a Francesco Testini design, where you're building these statues and then you're trying to get kind of area control bonuses. This one sounds like it's going along those same lines, but maybe a more involved game. This one is going to be published by Board and Dice, which is actually one of the biggest hooks for me because, to be honest, everything they put out so far, I've really enjoyed. And this is a co-design by Przemysław Fornal, who I don't really know much about. I think he might have designed some smaller games, and Adam Kopinski, who is really kind of blown up in recent years, making bigger games such as Nemesis. I had a bit of a miss for me last year with Dark Ages, but I'm still intrigued about what this guy can do because I think he has got it in him to make a game for me. But some of the mechanisms advertised here are area majority, you've got worker placement, and workers of different types as well. So yeah, I quite like this idea that we're kind of building up this mausoleum of different statues, and again, at the end of the game, getting area majority bonuses based on a number of different factors. So really like that setting, really like the theme, love the publisher. So hopefully the game is going to be good as well. So that is Terracotta Army, certainly of interest to me. Side game, thank you for joining me today, Mackenzie. And you said that game sounds very cool and a solid publisher. Yeah, absolutely. And they've pretty much almost been home runs for me. Okay, so next up, I have staying on the dice train here. This is the newest. This has become a bit of a routine thing every year now, the new annual. Yeah, this is Loom. I think that's how you pronounce it anyway. This is a new co-design by Daniele Gini, who's one of my favorite designers, and Simone Luciani, who's also one of my favorite designers. So these two, in my eyes, in my opinion, are some of the best people in the business right now. This is very early days. Don't really know too much about this one, apart from, again, it's going to be that next in the line of those T games. It's not even any cover. As you'd expect, this is going to be, I suppose, a medium to medium heavy Euro dice-driven game, as you are going to be drafting dice. Not only for the actions, but for the resources they give you as well. But it kind of alludes to here that these dice are going to be weighted in kind of accordance to the level of the power and also the resources you get for it. So kind of the better the power you get, the fewer resources you get, and vice versa. And those kind of conundrums usually hit for me. Again, I've never played a Tashini game that I haven't loved, really. I mean, I rate him very highly, and the same with Luciani, just two incredible designers. So this is like a guaranteed buy for me. And this one is not taking the kind of ancient setting. This is going for I think it's more of a Renaissance setting in Europe when you're kind of traveling merchants. So ticking all the boxes for me. All these kind of games are normally my cup of tea, so it's going to be pretty surprising if this one isn't going to be a hit. But still yet to play Tabanusi, so maybe that one could be an exception. But there we go. Tilitum, certainly very high up on my anticipation list. Next one is something very different. So this is a game called Pocket Master Builder, and this one is going to be a worker placement game, but you're building the board as you go through cards. And if you see some pictures here, once my browser catches up, so apologies if there's some delay on my on my internet. But yeah, this is called Pocket Master Builder. This is, I think, an Asian designer. But I like the idea and concept here that you are, again, building these worker placement spots, these cards as the game develops. And you are, I think you're resisting threats as well, like invasions from barbarians, it says here. And you want to be basically the person to get the king's favor at the end, which I assume is going to be 3 points. But I generally like these games where, as the game develops, you are building the board and constructing it yourself rather than having a preset thing. Not like I'm against, but it always intrigues me. And I love this idea that when these cards are formed together, you're creating other opportunities. So it looks like, once these cards are adjacent, you create the worker placement spot. And of course, some person can go to this spot, some person can go to that spot, but you can't share the exact same spot. That's what I'm presuming anyway. And it looks like there's some kind of resource thing going on as well when they're connecting vertically. So this for me just does, tickle my fancy. It really makes me feel like this could be a game that I like. Let's have a look what information is available on the actual main page in terms of length and weight category, because I know this game was advertised initially as a 2021 game, but I'm pretty sure it's not out yet. So let's just take a look. It goes, okay, only a weight of 2.0 on there, but I don't know how accurate that is. And 20 to 40 minutes sounds pretty intriguing for a game where you build the board yourself. So that is Pocket Master Builder. Okay, I don't know too much about it other than that, but piquing my interest, this is going to be quite a big thing. So if you didn't know about that one, maybe you want to put on your radar. Okay, next one. This is a game I'm quite confident I'll like. This is a game called Autobahn. So Autobahn is going to be about the construction of the German motorway system, I suppose. And this is a co-design by two designers I think are pretty damn interesting. So this is a co-design by Fabio Lopiano and Nestor Mangone. So you might recognize those names. So Lopiano designed Merv of recent years, which I thought was a really solid midweight Euro, very polished game. He also did Zapotec, which I haven't got to play yet, and I think is actually due out this year in Europe at least. And also Kalamala as well. And those games, despite me only playing Merv, and I think I played another one of his games as well. This is a designer who shows a lot of promise for me, and I think that he's so close to getting his big masterpiece out there. And maybe this one could be it, especially when you've got a designer like Nestor Mangoni co-designing with you. So Mangoni designed one of my favorite games ever, actually, with Newton, I think, is a brilliant midweight Euro. But this one, again, 3.6 out of 5. Alley Cat Games publishing it, which, again, I've liked other things they put out. And this one has that economic edge to it. It looks like you're building networks. You've got some pick up and deliver as well. So all these things I generally like. Again, it says here the Autobahn is an economic strategy game about building of the German motorway system over 3 periods of time spanning from the end of World War II to the present day. So really interesting how this one's going to play out. Again, I don't know if there's much information other than what I told you on there. Box covers out, it looks great. So high hopes for that one. And, my mind is kind of, running amok saying, what could this be? Because hopefully it's as good as I think it will be. So yeah, that is Autobahn. Certainly piqued my interest. Next up is a game where I'm really hoping comes out, because I think this one made my list last year, and there was certainly no sign of this one being released in actuality. This is a game called Dice Realms. So Dice Realms, I'm pretty sure this one is actually kind of under it's probably closer than we realize. So this is a game by Tom Lehman, who is, I suppose, more famous for Race for the Galaxy and Res Arcana in recent years. But this is using the dice kind of building mechanism that I think has been so unexplored. That is the fact that you are actually have these dice, and then you are clipping on these new faces to these die, and therefore increasing your abilities and doing things. I think this is going to be a pretty big production. You're getting a ton of these die faces, hundreds of them, I think, and obviously you're constructing them accordingly to your strategy. And I love this idea that this, I think, is going to be a more involved game. It says 3 out of 5 here. Again, I don't know how accurate that's going to be, but previously I know the Dice Forge game was really tailored towards kind of more a gateway intro level gamer. Whereas this one is probably going to be that next level higher with what you'd expect from a designer like Tom Lehman. And I love his mind and how he works in terms of comboing things together, again, creating synergies with his components and things. And that mixed with dice building, to me, sounds like this could be a big hit. So again, so much potential with this mechanism, and hopefully it is going to be good. And as Nikolai says here, dice rounds, a designer pedigree, and the dice themselves. What's not to like? So yeah, on paper, this sounds like this could be a big hit. Not only success-wise, but also how good the game is going to be, because again, designer pedigree is so important. So that is Dice Realms. Next up, I have a designer. Well, talk about designer pedigree. This is the newest design by Stefan Feld. This is Marrakech. And Marrakech, anything Stefan Feld puts out there, I'm going to at least try. And I've yet to have a game that I don't like. Obviously, I like some more than others, but this one is really intriguing because it is kind of revisiting the cube tower mechanism that was used in Amerigo, and I think that is another really underutilized mechanism. You'd think that would be all over the place, people would be using it all the time, and they just don't. There's only a few titles out there that have used it, but yeah, Marrakech is it's going to be from the kind of Stefan Feld collection from Queen Games. I'm not massively sold on the graphic design of these games, and they are really pricing them quite high. So that's been a bit of a deterrent, but I suppose my love for Stefan Feld has superseded that. But yeah, this one has a kind of a city building like vibe to it. Again, that cube tower. I'm interested to see how it actually works. I know the actual, I think the rulebook's even out there, but I tend not to look at rulebooks beforehand. But it kind of ticks all the boxes for me. Again, that cube tower, the designer. It says here you play over 3 rounds, each round consisting of 4 turns. On each turn, players simultaneously and secretly choose 3 coloured cylinders from behind their screens. Then in turn order, they place matching coloured assistants on their player board and perform the corresponding action. So it looks like there's some kind of simultaneous play going on. And to be honest, I'm just going to wait and just get this to the table, read the rulebook, and then play it for the first time, without getting any pre-existing ideas and how it's going to play. So high hopes for this one. I'm really glad they actually did change their mind and do a retail version, because they were actually only going to do a deluxe version, which was priced pretty ludicrously. But Stefan Feld, love him, and a new design rather than revisited and remastered old designs always catch my attention that much more. So that is Marrakech. The next game is one that I think I'm really, I really think it's unlikely that this game is going to get printed, but I'm going to mention it anyway because it is listed as a 2022 game. This is from Watch Your Game, and I think that's the reason why it might not get published. Because they are already committed to doing their Kickstarter project Madeira. I know they're having a lot of issues with that project, but which is a shame because they are a really good publisher, and I'm hoping they can kind of get through the other side of this. But this is a Chicago 1920, and I suppose the biggest thing for me and the biggest draw for me about this game is not only the publisher, because I tend to like everything these guys put out, but also the setting. So you don't really see a lot of Euro-style games with that kind of 1920s prohibition mafia theme. And for me, I love that vibe. And this one, it looks like you're doing all those kind of shady things, as in earning money, recruiting men. It says here doing it, smuggling and bribing politicians, all that kind of stuff. Normally it's pretty vanilla, the kind of settings you get in these Euro games, and something with a bit more of an edge, a bit more cutting like this does appeal to me because it's just different. So there are some images here. Again, I don't know what kind of point this was in the design tests, but again, they are going to be tied up with Madeira for quite some time. So I think this is highly unlikely this is going to get out, maybe not even launched on Kickstarter this year, let alone be actually hitting the table. So just bear this one. If you didn't know about it, then check it out, because or at least put it on your back on your radar, because Euro games mixed with this and more cutthroat theme sounds really interesting. So that is Cargo 1920. So let's move on then. So the next one is something a bit lighter. So all the other ones have been kind of mid to heavyweight Euros. This is going to be a smaller game. Well, I've actually backed on Kickstarter, so I'm pretty sure this is going to get out there. This is a game called The Gardens. So The Gardens is a co-design, and it's a kind of I think it's a guitar placement, or at least a card placement, where you're building like a tableau and a physical garden out. Let's just show you some pictures here, because this is a very attractive game. And it's a co-designed by Matthew Dunstan and Brett Gilbert, who I think are really good designers. They're good at what they do. So yeah, this is only weighted at 1.5 out of 5. So this is feather light by Grail Games. But this one, yeah, you are kind of, it looks like you're drafting and then building the board up as you go. But then I think once you've built that board up, not only are you getting, the set collection bonuses and things, you actually have a kind of a dynamic piece on that board which you're moving around, maybe trying to visit things and see things. So again, I don't know the exact mechanisms in the game, but the overall vibe and feel of it, and certainly the look of the game, looks fantastic. So yeah, just something a bit lighter, maybe more family friendly, and those games tend to hit the table more often than the other kind of games that I tend to play. So yeah, I always look for kind of new, fresh things. I know this is a massively saturated kind of area of gaming where a lot of people have played, or loads of designers have made their iteration of these style of games, but maybe this one could be good because, again, I do like these designers, love the idea of building these botanical gardens. So hopefully the game is going to be good, and supersede that light weighting, because sometimes the gameplay is richer and deeper than the weight on BGG suggests. So that is the Gardens. Next up, I have a game where I don't think there's a tremendous amount of information about this one. This is a game called Rise and Fall. Again, I think this might be another very optimistic viewpoint on this one getting to the tables in 2021. But this is a design by Christoph Bollinger, who is for Archipelago. But this one visually looks really attractive and quite striking in terms of its table presence, because you have a 3D board, 40 to 80 minutes, and this one is described, I'll show the pictures in a second, but this one is described as an area majority deck, bag, and pool building game, but with a fantasy theme, and you're building these territories as you go throughout. So, and it's also being advertised as, I think, it being like almost perfect information. So it's borderline abstract, as far as I'm aware. But the rules, it even says in the description, the rules are very low and easy to get into, so you can get playing straight away. But that depth does unravel as you play it more and more. But if you have a look at the images here, I tend to really love games that add a not only like a horizontal element to the game, but also like a vertical element. So, games like Ginkopolis and things like that. This one looks like it could start to experiment with that idea as you're building these 3D territories, multiple layers, different terrains and things. I think there's some kind of confrontation in the game, but hey, it looks interesting, and I love these kind of modular boards that you build throughout. Looks like it's going to be, quite engaging, and looks like it will develop in interesting ways each time you play this one. So again, if you didn't know about that one, that's called Rise and Fall. I'm not quite sure about the point of development it's in, but hopefully we'll see it this year, or at least start to learn more about it this year. Okay, so moving on then. So next one is a game called Revive. So Revive, there is kind of two reasons why this one appeals to me. Number one, again, setting, really interesting. The kind of synopsis of the game sounds like it's going to be up my alley. But this one, another big reason is because of the designer, or at least co-designer. So this is 4 credited designers listed on this one. 2 of them being Eilif Svensson and Christian Otsby, who designed Capital Lux. And that for me is a fantastic game, one of my favorite games of the last couple of years. So anything with their name on it now is going to at least, again, get my interest and get my attention. Another designed by a Porter. Some early artwork out there, but this is a civilization style game with variable player powers. You've got some tech trees and at least some card play. But it says here that it's a civ game, but with no direct conflict and no fighting. So normally, you know, I'm kind of getting better with more kind of cutthroat, in your face, conflict driven games, but there was a point where I really didn't like it in my games. But this one, at least it takes a different approach. It says quick rounds, lots of possible strategies. Players build their own decks of multi-use cards. Again, multi-use cards are another big drawing point for me. I love sacrificing one thing to play another, that kind of thing. So yeah, this kind of, again, ticks a lot of those boxes and things that I'm looking for. Great designers, great publisher, interesting idea and concept. Some cool mechanisms that I'm looking forward to, and obviously the artwork, I'll just show you a couple of bits here, already looks really gorgeous. So that is going to be Revive. Again, know very little about it, but what I do know about it sounds like it could be interesting. And you see here, you've got some kind of mech as well that looks a bit like the ones from Scythe. So that is Revive. So getting through these quite quickly, actually. So the next one is going to be a game called Freya. So Freya is a game purely purely my interest has been taken by this one based on the description. It's got some Michael Menzel artwork, which is I tend to like. I think he's a good kind of very synonymous with these Euro games. But this one is going to be a design by Alberto Milan, who I don't know anything about. I think it might even be a first-time designer, or at least one of the designs. But this one is actually there's a picture here actually, but this one is set in Thailand, and it says here you are kind of being a floating market, so you are kind of traveling, you know, on these boats, and it has a pick up and deliver and commodity speculation mechanisms in there, which are two things I really love. I love pick up and deliver and commodity speculation. I think most of my favorite games have, or most games with that in, I tend to really enjoy. So the two mixed sounds interesting to me. It almost makes me think of a game like Acrotiri, which I liked, but it was just a near miss for me. And I'm hoping this one could maybe fix some of the problems that I have with Acrotiri. And of course, this one is for 2 to 4 players as well. I'll just show a picture here. Again, I'm not sure what point of development this picture was taken. And I think this is the first time I've seen it. But here we go. It looks very attractive. Again, this point-to-point movement, it kind of reminds me again, oh yeah, Acrotiri mixed with Venice as well. But if it's kind of a hybrid but improved of those two games, then it could be good. So again, just a bit of interest there. Very little knowledge on it, but yeah, interesting. And just go a few comments here. So Mackenzie saying multi-use civilization game from an Ace team. Yeah, exactly. So once all those things tied together, it looks great. He also commented on I believe that must be Dice Realms, saying it looks great, like Quack's power setup meets Dice Forge meets Lemon. Yeah, exactly. So it's got all the hallmarks for a game that we'll enjoy. Nikolai says Revive is new to him. Thanks. He don't enjoy direct direct conflict, so that one could be interesting to him. So yeah, absolutely. And David, thank you for joining us, David. And you missed a few games. I'm actually rattling through these quite quickly. I'll just talk about them very quickly, not summarizing, just listing the games. So we've got Terracotta Army, Tillatomb, Pocket Master Builder, Autobahn, Dice Realms, Marrakech, Chicago 1920, The Gardens, Rise and Fall, Revive, Freya, and the final new game, or brand new, very little information about it, is another co-design by, one of the designs at least, is Simone Luciani. And this is a game that's going to be rather grandiose by the looks of it. This is a game called Annunaki. And I know they were actually showing this off at Essen this year. I don't know, you know, if too many people got to play it. But this one, no artwork there yet, at least no box cover. So this is by Simone Luciani and Danilo Sabia. I don't know who that is, but and published by Cranio Creations. So Cranio, I know they got a bit of stick with their Barrage campaign a couple of years ago, but the games they put out, I tend to really enjoy. They really do kind of hit that sweet spot for me, the games they publish. But this one is being advertised as a 4X Euro game, and that mixed with Luciani is like massive, you know, interest peaking there, because I don't think he's ever really dived into that style of gameplay. But this one is taking a weird setting where you are aliens, I believe, and you are leaving your planet to try and settle on Earth. So that sounds quite interesting in itself. All the tropes you'd expect from a 4X game. It says you've got civilization, you've got economic, you've got exploration, fighting, card play, contracts, King of the Hill. So pretty much a kitchen sink style game. But normally that'll be a massive deterrent for me. I think, is this going to be too much going on? But when I hear Luciani's name on it, it's like, I think out of all the designs out there, there might not be one that I trust more. It seems like he has a certain level of brilliance that not many designers can replicate. And again, mixed with a good publisher, and interesting theme. Some early pictures here as well, which I think I'm pretty sure are prototype components. Hey, this could be interesting. It seems like it might be going for the same market as Voidfall did, that Euro 4X style game. So yeah, wait and see with this one. I think it's going to blow up quite big. Again, I think the Kickstarter campaign is launching relatively soon, so probably being massively optimistic, it's going to get released in 2022, but at least we'll learn a hell of a lot more about it and see what the gameplay is going to be, and probably for a 2023 physical release. But hey, there we go. That's Annunaki, and I forgot the tag name for that one. The kind of subtitle. There you go, Dawn of the Gods, Annunaki, Dawn of the Gods. So that was kind of the new games that, or the brand new games that were, again, hot off the press that I knew about, that I'm most anticipated for. But as I said at the start of the video, kind of to repeat myself on last year's list, your most anticipated games for 2021, a lot of them didn't make it out in time for a number of reasons, probably production issues, all that kind of stuff. And the games that I really wanted to talk about were one I mentioned earlier, Zapotec, kind of a medium light card-driven Euro by Fabio Lupiano. I won't go too much into all of these. Carnegie didn't make it out in time, which, again, I'm just waiting for the Kickstarter to be fulfilled. Another Quinid game, I believe that is by. I really like the games they put out. This is, again, another industrial style game, and I tend to like all of those. Other games such as Hamburg and Amsterdam as well from the Steffenfeld collection. So they are re-implementations of it is Bruges and Macau. So two games that are been like gold dust. You can't get hold of them. Nice new versions of them. I say nice new versions. I've not played them yet, and the artwork on them is terrible, to be honest. But hey, hopefully the gameplay overrides that. Still looking forward to that one. Stroganov as well, the new Andrea Stedding game got played. It's not hit the press yet, so really want to try and finally get that one played. Really beautiful looking game. I think that one's going to be a hit for me. Also, Darwin's Journey, another Luciani design. This one looks fascinating, and this was actually my number one most anticipated game of last year, but of course it didn't make out. I'll show you the images on this one. This was a very successful Kickstarter campaign, but it kind of went quiet because it's just been such a long time. But it is actually officially listed as a 2022 game now. But yeah, this one is obviously about Darwin's trip through the Galapagos Islands, discovering these new species and things. What a brilliant idea! And again, mixed with that pedigree of the designer, like I think it's Luciani anyway. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is. Yeah, Luciani and Nico Nestor Mangoni as well, who was listed as a co-designer for Autobahn. So another big game here. Yeah, I love the look of this one. Kind of a point-to-point movement one. Lots going on. Thundergriff game publishing it. So I'm pretty sure this one's got all the hallmark for a big hit for me. Just a matter of time and waiting for it. Other designs. What have we got? Oh, Hippocrates as well. So Hippocrates. I think it's Game Brewer who are publishing that one. That one is by the team who did Trois, so at least some of them. And that is kind of takes this medical vibe, and you're drafting these different patients, I think, and then using doctors to cure them, and then you're building up this big network of bonuses. That one looks fascinating, so really looking forward to finally getting Hippocrates onto the table as well. And a couple of games I wanted to mention before we stop the video are a couple of reprints. So first off, there is going to be a new version It seems like I'm blowing smoke up the ass of Board and Dice, but they pick great games to publish. Lagrania is a deluxe master set, so I'm not so interested in the deluxe, but this is a game that's very much out of print. Can't get your hands on it, but we finally be able to this year. And what I'm really interested in about this one is that there is going to be modules made or designed by other pretty revered designers, such as Stefan Feld himself. So yeah, this is like another dice-driven Euro, a farming vibe, economic, dice-driven, pretty involved, I think. But yeah, I think there's some pretty big designers who are getting involved in this one. Has a really nice new artwork, and the box cover looks amazing. So yeah, really looking forward to finally getting Lagrania on my shelves and getting it played, because I've been waiting for a long time to get that one. And also another game called Brussels 1893 is being published again with the expansion. So it's going to be called Brussels 1893 Belle Epoque, which I think was the name of the expansion. But I recently played the card version of this, and I liked it, but I really do feel like it's a bit of an appetizer for the main course in being Brussels 1893. This one is kind of has a really interesting mechanisms in there that I haven't seen before, actually, where you are moving kind of things around the grid, which will manipulate scoring. You kind of have this big tableau of actions, but it gets divided up in each round. So yeah, this has a lot of things going on that do seem like they'll be different and fun to play. And another game that's just managed to evade me, and I've not got my hands on a copy. So yeah, looking forward to this one being more widely available and getting it played. So that pretty much talks about all the games that that I wanted to cover. I know. Oh, also there's a version of Carson City is coming out as well, a new printing. So not a new game, not a new edition, just a new printing, which is I'm very excited for. So that's pretty much it, everybody. So if you've got any games that I've missed that you're pretty sure I'll like, because I'm pretty sure you guys probably know my tastes by now, please let me know about it, because there are so many games out there, and obviously they all bypass me, and I can't keep on top of them all. But if you leave a comment, then I'll be more than excited to have a look and do a bit of a deeper dive. Just go out a couple more comments. One from David saying a 4x Euro game. I'm really looking forward to Brazil. Yeah, Brazil was one that I think was on my last year's most anticipated list, but didn't happen. And it hit retail in a couple of countries. Yeah, I think it is a few countries that aren't my own do have copies of this, but really excited for that one. Yeah, that seems to be a new trend, actually. These 4x Euros seems to be a whole new niche and a new genre of games that are being kind of looked into. And he's also said that, interestingly, Stroganoff and Hippocrates are available in Hungary. Okay, lucky you, David. I wish I had. Well, we had access to it as well, but sadly we don't. And Christopher, thanks for joining us today, Christopher, said he's waiting for Brazil as well. Yeah, I am too. I'm with you, eagerly anticipating the release of that one. So that's it, really, guys. So thank you so much for, again, this short notice stream, and thanks for joining us. Obviously, if you're watching at slow time, fantastic. Leave a comment again if you have anything you want to mention or have any thoughts on these games. And apologies again for the video spam this week. Again, I've got some free time, so I thought I'd make the most of it. That's it. So thanks again for everybody. If you have enjoyed the video, please hit like and subscribe to my channel, and check out my other videos too. Also be sure to, if you want to take that extra step, then visit my Patreon campaign, where you can back for as little as £2 per month. So that really helps the channel keep going. So thanks a lot, everyone, and I'll see you all next time on Chairman of the Board. Bye.